Resume recording. Recording in progress. All right, it's 9:15. Jennifer, you're our new chair. If you want to go through the agenda and ask people for motions and stuff. Can you hear us? You're muted.
Yes, I can hear you. And see you. Sorry. Okay, I didn't realize I was the new chair. I guess I did that at the last meeting I was at. I guess I volunteered. Okay, well, let's call the meeting to order then. The first section is public comment. Do we have any members of the public even here?
I don't think so.
Anybody on the commission want to offer public comment? I do. I didn't get a chance, Chris, to tell you how great the music festival was.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Sucks that
Fantastic.
it rained though.
Even in the rain, pretty solid turnout.
Yeah,
We clicked
I was
at 1100.
1,100 people. Good
Nice.
job. Way to go.
Yeah.
That's great.
Awesome.
I was there for the kids section before it started raining, and the kids were great.
The kids
They really were.
My nephew was a member of Mold, so that's what I was there to say. They were fantastic.
Oliver killed it. So did Logan.
Yes, yeah, they're great. You know, they live right next door to each other and like don't speak or acknowledge each other's presence ever, other than at Flats and Sharps when they're in the band together.
No,
think
they don't
that's-
talk there. No one talks in that whole
So
band.
weird.
No one talks. Not one person talks. Hysterical. Yeah.
Kids that age are so weird. Anyway,
So weird.
Great event. Looking forward to it next year.
that's the public comment. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the May meeting?
I haven't, but I trust that they're good and would like to make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the
Aye.
May minutes? Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstaining? May minutes pass. And next up, the star of the show, Cindy. Take it over.
Budget approval. I will stop sharing this screen and I will share my budget screen. But not that one because that's a different SSA's budget. We're getting everything ready based on the city's sort of timeline, and so we're now at the point where they've done their first review on these, and we at this point take it to commissioners. So without further ado, if I can get screen share to work. So levy change from previous year. We do have it going up slightly, but not enough to require community meeting. And then as you know, as you know from past budget years, there's caps that we have to hit as far as what percentage of our total budget is coming from carryover and what percentage is admin and staffing. So for carryover calculation, the max is 25%. We're at 13.6, and then I'll tab over to the admin personnel category. That is capped at 30%. We're at 28.8. That one's a hard one because just our budget is so small to start with, that we have to make it fit. But we did in this draft. So I'll take it back now to the general summary pages, to just sort of walk you through, where we're at for category by category and how it compares to current year, prior years. So we're at a grand levy total of 103, up from last year's, which was 99. Part of that was we did put in a slight increase to landscaping, just sort of based on what our contractor had identified as a need for some additional soil amendments next year, particularly to those planters in the 6400 block in front of the Granada Center building, where that soil's kind of become compacted. It's going to need more work next year. And then some additional funding for the holiday lights, because based on tree growth, they're going to need to purchase some additional strings of lights just to maintain the same coverage on the tree lights, just because the trees grow, which is good, but it means you need more lights. And then I think just the rest were sort of admin expenses here. So yeah, holiday decorations, I think we were kind of right sizing the budget for our dumpster bills just based on what the actual bills have been. And then it's not in here, but one thing that also changed from last year was there was actually a typo in last year's budget that nobody caught for BIPs. We only had like $2,000 in BIP, but the maximum BIP amount is 5,000. So we just have now in here $5,000 in that line item, so that if someone applies for BIP this year, they'll actually be able to get up to the full amount. But that's really it. Those are the only changes. We basically just took the FY21 budget and tweaked a couple things based on year-to-date costs and conversations that we've had with some of our service providers. So, any questions? What's up?
I don't really know how to phrase this question, but I've been hearing a lot about people not paying property taxes last year, and then has that problem been solved this year, or has it gotten worse or better, and how have we adjusted for it in our budget?
So
or are we still budgeting for the full expected amount?
So this is the 103,000 is the levy. Our total budget's 138 because that factors in things like carryover and then late and loss collections. So if people pay late, people that didn't pay last year are paying late this year, like we can factor that into our budget and carry over too. But yeah, that was definitely something that we saw last year in terms of, we passed like what our levy is, but then what we actually collected of that levy wasn't quite, where we were expecting it to be. Sandy, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit more. I don't remember what the exact.
So Jennifer, we don't have control over if people are paying their property taxes. So our adjustment comes in based on our spending, not our budgeting. So we still want to budget the full amount that in anticipation, right? We're hopeful that we're going to get the amount of money. But what we do is when we start spending money, right, all through the year, especially I would say the second half of the year, we'll go back and look at, like, Cindy will say, oh, we want to add more plants on Sheridan Road. And I'll say to her, how much is in the budget? How much have we received? So we know, and they keep moving the goalposts, right? So property taxes used to be due in March, and then they moved it to April, and then they moved it to May. Which makes it more difficult for us because they're only collected twice a year. So we used to be able to, in May, we would know about what we're going to get for the year, right? Because it's 55-45 and we could figure it out. Now it's more difficult to figure out how, to anticipate how much money we're going to get, but we try to keep on top of that and look at our spending. So we kind of have an internal budget that is not the budget that you're seeing. It's how much we know we can actually spend. And it's not this $138,000. Does that help?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. As soon as you started talking, I was like, yeah, obviously. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Cindy, is the BIP program, was that the storefront beautification one? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes. Yeah, and so nobody applied for that last year, but we took the money and instead did the little coronavirus re-rates for the Grubhub, stuff and like your plexiglass and PPE and everything. So like we used it last year, but nobody was applying for like signs. Because we've got so many vacancies right now in the district, I want to make sure that there's at least one available, to sort of try and sweeten the pot to get somebody to open something new in one of our many vacancies that we have.
Mm-hmm. And Cindy, I'm wondering if Chris is looking to do expansion, she may be applying. I'm wondering if you want to increase it to maybe $10,000 for two.
We just might, and I think we'll still be under the cap there. Actually, let me fix that right now and just make sure that it still works. Because anytime we change something in these budgets, it's like squishing a balloon; it pops out somewhere else. So I'll put in 10. Actually, I'll put 10 from carryover, maybe. Let's see if that'll work. All right, so that puts us in 10. Budget summary.
Didn't you have to take that out of somewhere though? Where was it taken out of? Oh.
No, I think I'm just putting in like carryover and late loss. So now we're at 143 for the total Carryover, we're still under 25%. We're still under the 5% community meeting rule because our levy didn't change. And then personnel, I'm just going to check the admin, and we're still under our own admin. So I'll just re-upload this to SharePoint for the city, because the one thing that we will need to change is the year-to-year explanations here. So yeah, I had only written explanations for 2 of the things, because you only have to do it when it's over 25, but now they say I need 3, and that BIP thing will be one of them, so I'll fix that. Yeah, and this page sort of is where we like list off our accomplishments over the last 12 months. So I talked about landscaping, I talked about Flats and Sharps, music festival. And then, next year, what we're looking to do. So it'll be, the 3rd annual Flats and Sharp Music Festival. It'll be hopefully working with CDOT to do more Bella Wrap installation, collaborating with Loyola and Edgewater Chamber on business attraction work. So the we be small, we be mighty for SSA 54. I'll put the,
Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the budget as presented?
I so move.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of approving the budget as presented for fiscal year
Aye.
22?
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
No opposition, no abstentions. Motion carries. Congratulations, Cindy.
That was the.
I know you worked
easiest
really
one.
hard on it.
yeah,
Easiest one ever.
because it's the easiest and the hardest, because it's like the smallest, right? So like, there's less wiggle room. Like if I mess up on math, like it's gonna blow up everything else. So
No,
But
nice work. That was
We've
good.
battled it out in the past a lot
Yeah.
more than.
Yeah.
now.
So that's the big agenda item. We're over the hump at this point. We did want to allow for some updates and discussion on public way aesthetics. We talked about landscaping already a little bit, where, Sarah, I know you've been in touch with Robert at Brightview. I've been as well. Overall, I think I've been pleased with this year's plantings, certainly compared to last year. I feel like they did, really take our notes and put in more color, more flowers, in addition to those perennials that we had done last year, which we kind of like knew and were told like last year's not going to be super exciting because we're just getting perennials established. But now that that's done and they've been able to add other stuff, it looks pretty good. The thing next year will be, a need that's been identified for soil amendments, like additional soil amendments, particularly for those boxes out there by over there by Sarah's shop and Third Coast Comics, the Granada Center building. Those 10, because they're kind of on the smaller side, that soil gets compacted down. So they're recommending adding more fertilizer to it and replenishing the soil there. So that'll be factored into next year. But I think we're in a good spot for landscaping. Any questions on that? Bella Wrap. So Brandon and I did a couple weeks ago the last of the Bella Wrap installation for this round, which was the utility box at the corner there at Sheridan and North Shore. It's there. It's up. It looks better than the box did. We had to scrape all sorts of stickers and graffiti off of the box before we applied it. But even doing that, there's still like some seams where it's kind of popping loose. But in terms of seeking permit approval to expand the Bella Wrap project beyond just the 6 locations where we've done it so far, CDOT has asked for like community feedback, like about the Bella Wrap, and like we haven't really gathered like letters of support or anything yet from folks, but would like to in order to sort of bolster a future permit application to expand it. So if anybody like,
Go back.
sorry. Oh. But But yeah, if anybody wants to like write a letter, or I can work with you on putting some language together to do like a support letter for it. If we do expand it, I don't think we'll do the stock like leaf pattern. I think we'll try to do something, you know, more artsy or, you know, decorative. Like the leaves are almost camouflage, but I think it shows proof of concept that people can't stick stickers or flyers or whatever to it anymore, and graffiti won't adhere. So it's definitely still a valuable project for that. And it's something that I think we do want to expand.
Cindy, do you want us to like write a letter and send it to you then? Or do you want to put a link to send it to, or?
Yeah, so we'll be sharing it with CDOT. So like it'll probably, you know, be addressed to, you know, the city, particularly CDOT. But you can pass those off to me because I'm going to be the one that's going to be submitting permit application documentation. So that's something that I probably would upload through the permit portal along with that and share with our contacts there. Vanessa and Lubica is who we've been working with on this and a couple other projects. But I'll come up with some sort of stock language people can use.
That's helpful. You're not looking for like, you're not going to do like a public input survey.
No.
You just want letters from people who have seen it and support it. And that's what
Right.
we need.
Because that's what it sounds like CDOT's kind of looking for. And I, you know, from talking with Vanessa, it sounds like the only kind of concern that they've had was durability, given that it's sort of popping up at seams now that it's, you know, some of it's been out there a year. I think that's partly due to the fact that this was sort of the first time that it was being done as like a DIY installation where Brandon and I were just out there doing it rather than having like their team fly in from Canada, because during coronavirus, we couldn't do that. So we may revisit like professional installation for future BellRap work. But we weren't able to do that and didn't want it to be holding up the project further since it had already been sort of 2 years going through the permit process. So if we do expand it, it'll probably be, you know, something where they either send their team to do it or we have like a sign company.
It's funny to me that they care about durability when it comes to BellRap, but like
Yeah.
they let people paint the electric boxes and they let you paint the poles even up to 6 feet. And it's just sort of like, well, we'll paint over it again next year. Like they don't care about the durability of a mural,
Yeah.
but they care about the durability of the BellRap.
And when we were installing it, particularly on that utility box, like we were trying to, you know, in the course of getting the stickers and the graffiti off in order to apply the stuff, like the layers of paint, the paint chips that were coming off of that thing was like incredible. Like
And,
years of paint layers.
I don't know which organization it is because I'm on so many mailing lists, but there's some neighborhood that has their painted utility box like in every one of their emails. I don't know which one it is, you know, but it's like always on my mind. Like I see it so often, it's on my mind. Like what, they could paint a utility box, why couldn't we? You know.
Yeah, I know some of the
I don't
suburban communities have been doing them too, but they just paint them. They haven't been doing the BellRap. Where, as far as I can tell, and from talking with the vendor, like we're the first in Illinois to do it. They're based in Canada, so there's a lot of towns in Canada that have been using them. But we're the first, and certainly in the Chicago area, and probably the whole state.
Awesome. Oh, more to come on that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is letter C here, lights? Is that our favorite topic of Christmas lights? Or
Holiday
something?
lights. Yeah. So.
Holiday lights, excuse me.
So I talked with Scott because we're working with him on lights for Howard and for Devon. And he was asking sort of, you know, do we want to just stick with the trees that I think we identified 27 trees that we did last year? Do we want to just stick with that, or do we want to try to add more trees? The cost will be lower this year because he already bought all the strings of lights for last year. So there would just be installation, and then if they need to add more to hit the other branches.
He didn't hit the tree in front of my roadway at all last year, 0. So
Oh, weird, because I thought he was using yours for power because
I
you
thought
got
he
the
was.
boxes
I
in the
thought he
patio.
was too, but he never did anything with mine last year. So
I'll ask him about that. Because I know I know the Great Wall folks called me because he was asking them for roof access, and I was just like, I thought he was supposed to use the receptacles on Tony's patio. And I told him that.
I'm
Which is
fine with
odd.
him doing that, but he did not wire up my my trees. So
I think we always want more trees lit up, but other than the designated trees, well, maybe we should have like just a clear map again of what trees, and then one of us follow up with him. You know, like, no, Scott, these were the 27 trees and you only hit 19 of them.
accountability, that would be really nice. Considering
Mm-hmm.
considering he doesn't deliver on anything he says he's going to deliver on ever on any year.
Can I,
He's
can
the
I just
only
advocate
person
for
who does
Scott
that.
just a little bit, and for Cindy too, because we do follow up with him. And the issue that he has every year, and where we could, I think, really use your help, is with the other property owners.
Ugh.
So we may talk to a property owner who says, yes, you can use our electricity. And then Scott goes to put the lights on and they don't let him use the electricity, or the person that we spoke to isn't there, or, you know, that's where we really have the issue. Is we think we have it all ready to go. And then when he actually gets out there to do the installation, there's a problem with the electricity, or the person's not there, or that's
Well,
where we have it.
he never called me to have him meet there or tell me what he needed from me. I would have done whatever it took to get those lights up. He just never called me. Never.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened, Tony. And I agree that's an issue too, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just not great communication. You know, if he could,
I hope that's
because
it.
I'm there, I'm on Sheridan Road, Tony's on, you know what I mean? Like, if he contacts us, maybe we can be helpful in contact. Well, but then we just picked, what are we? We just picked 2 blocks, 3 blocks.
So
were
we
doing it on?
basically had him do the only the blocks where there are businesses, because it was such a difficult time involving the
Right.
apartment building management to do power access. So the scope that we had last year included the block where the 400 Theater is, and Flats and Sharps. I think we left off Giordano's because it was only like 1 or 2 trees.
Mhm.
And then the space in front of, I think we did the Tai Chi bubble tea, that block. And then obviously the CTA Plaza. And my cat is wanting to phone up on this
Yeah.
meeting. But I'll go through the list and send around sort of the map that we had from last year. But I think 27 was the number of trees that we chose to light, just sort of based on placement, power access, and size of the trees.
Could you share that map with us next meeting? Just so
Yes.
there's just a map and we've said what addresses or what trees. And
Yeah,
then we
actually,
have it, and then we
I'm-
can go out in December, or
idea.
in
Yeah.
November, or
Yeah.
October, whenever he comes, and then.
I'm gonna
check in
stop
with him.
screen sharing really quick and just see if I can find it in my folder from last year, because I might still, it would be weird if
I have an
didn't.
idea that we should put the map of the lighted trees
Yeah.
on the Bella wrap. That way, anybody could see it at any time.
All right, because yeah, okay, we didn't have a map, but I think we had some lists, it looks like. I made a map. I'll have to go through the files some more. Because yeah, I've got the property owner letter from prior years that was used. And then I've got invoices and contracts. Where's my map? I made one. Hi, Ginsburg. She loves Zoom meetings more than anybody. All right, I'll find the map and send it around, because I'm pretty sure I remember making one, because I think we talked about it during prior
I think
meetings.
there was 2.
Yeah. There's one more spot I'm gonna check. Our special guest at this meeting this morning. But yeah, oh, the other thing too, we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. The city is requiring us to return fully to in-person meetings after the 24th. So we'll most likely look to be back at the Lakeshore Partners space. Jennifer, if that's an option, do you know? Are you still here?
I'm here. Technically, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Technically, the university is still not open to any non-university people at all coming on campus. But since that is a retail storefront space, honestly, nobody knows. So I'm kind of ethically torn, right? It's also Sarah's office.
Yeah,
Sarah could just say she's hosting us there, and it has nothing to do with Loyola. So
good to know.
yeah.
Listen, am I the only one that enjoys the convenience of not meeting in person, though?
Not at all.
100% prefer.
No,
It's-
I like it too.
On my end, not so much for this group, but for some of my larger SSAs, it's much easier to get quorum.
Mhm.
And actually, some of the other SSA managers are, sort of organizing to sort of request it, because it's state law, right? It's Open Meetings Act at the state level. I personally have written letters and emails to Kelly Cassidy and Mike Simons about like, hey, like maybe we should consider modernizing the Open Meetings Act moving forward to allow for more remote meetings like this, because I think it's probably good for transparency. If you don't have to like go to a place at the appointed time and you can just click a link on the website for the meeting. So definitely that's a conversation that's happening. But in the meantime, they are requiring us to return to in-person meetings after the most recent emergency declaration from the governor expires on the 24th. So that's where we're at. And we will most likely plan to meet at the Loyola space.
Are they asking or requiring?
They are requiring because that's the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Hi, guys. Sorry, I was running a little bit late. One
Hi,
thing
Nick.
on that, if we do have to go back to in person, and this is just a selfish comment on my part.
Mhm.
Early mornings are very difficult for me because these are, this is the period of time when the hotel is most busy. Prior to the pandemic, it wasn't so much of a big deal, but just because of staffing and how things were situated. But right now, it's a little challenging. So I don't know what everybody else's schedule is. I certainly don't want to be the only reason we would make a shift, but I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there on that.
Yeah, and I know we'd heard from a couple people that there were some challenges around this meeting kind of overlapping with school drop-off times. It's summer now, so I know that's not been an issue. But if we were to try and move it later, like what would be an ideal time for folks? Like lunchtime, afternoons? What's good?
Afternoons are fine with me. But yeah, anytime for the most part, with the exception of Thursday, anytime after 10 a.m. I think works well for me.
Or would it be helpful to move to the hotel?
We could do meetings at the hotel as well. Just need to make sure that we don't have a function going on at the same time. But yeah, we could certainly host a few meetings here. But I mean, still during that early morning period of time, you guys would see what I'm talking about if we try to do it at the same time.
Yeah.
I would say as one of the parents who said it was a school drop-off time, it's always school drop-off time. Like that's just, summer has nothing to do with it, right? Like summer is in a lot of ways even more difficult than the school year. And I don't know about Heather's school, but we haven't not heard a word yet about fall and whether the school start time is going to change, whether there's going to be before school care, after school care, like none of those programs have been announced. And my son's school time changed during coronavirus. So it was off by a complete hour. Whether it's going to go back to what was pre-pandemic or not, I still have no idea. So I'm just a wild card as it relates to school drop-off time, because it might be 8 a.m., it might be 9 a.m. And if it's not school, it's camp. And if it's not camp, it's sports camp. And so I'm pretty much like a 10 to 3 person now. Like,
Is there like, would lunchtime be better for everybody?
100%.
Or, I mean, throw out what you guys were. I think Cindy and I are kind of, you know, we want you guys to be there. It's hard enough getting a quorum.
I think it's just hard. Yeah, it's hard to have say there's going to be a perfect time that you're never going to miss a meeting.
Well, of course, but you know, we want to do a time when we
I
have the
work
best,
out at
best
lunch
shots.
every day. I'd rather do afternoon, but I could always, you know, sneak one in, one lunch a week. I mean, a month is not a big deal.
Mhm.
Afternoon, Tony, what time afternoon? Does it
Doesn't
matter?
After 2, I usually work out from like 12 to 2.
Well, wait a minute, I'm flexible, so let's just, I think we should, like, Jennifer and Nick have these tight schedules. Let's narrow it down, you guys. So Tony, you said 2 o'clock?
About 2 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, that
Nick?
works. That works for me.
That works for me.
Well, I mean, are we still talking about Thursday?
Thursday, 2.
Oh, I can't do Thursdays then.
Thursday after. So I only have a couple meetings. I have a 10 o'clock meeting, most of the time on Thursdays, and that follows right after our busy time in the hotel, and then 2:30 on Thursdays. And outside of that, I have no meetings for the week that I can't move around and manipulate.
I have a standing 1:30 meeting on Thursdays.
Or how about another day of the week?
I have a
Um,
standing 1 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Yeah, my Wednesday afternoons are off the table just because that's when we have our team meetings.
Tuesdays.
What about
Tues-
Thursdays at noon, though?
I'm completely open on Tuesdays. That works for me.
Yeah, I'm open on Tuesdays too.
Tuesday noon or Tuesday 2?
Tuesday, 2 is preferable for me.
Tuesday too works for me.
Okay, Tuesday too.
That'll work for me.
Okay.
All right. And we've still, been doing the every other month. I think that's probably fine to stick with. So our next meeting will be in September. I will have to update our meeting calendar because I think we had passed a meeting calendar at the end of last year, sticking with the 9 o'clock on Thursday kind of meeting model. So I'll just have to update the website and meeting schedule, but we can try to do the Tuesday 2 p.m. Starting with the September meeting, if that's
Great.
cool.
Yeah, and Cindy, if you'd like, I'd be happy to host one of these meetings. So if you want to schedule that, if we have to do a face-to-face, if you guys want to come by the hotel, I don't know when the last time you guys have been here, but might as well swing by.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Let's maybe do that if the university isn't wanting to have us, be having meetings in the Lakeshore Partner space just yet.
I
Hampton
think
Inn
that's
may be
the
the way to
ethical
go.
route.
I think so. So, all right. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, we'll huddle up in the future about, whatever you need from us to schedule that. But September will be the next one. And I think, so we've been doing third Thursday. Do we want to stick to third Tuesday?
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
Great. I'll get that calendar updated.
That would be September 21st. Is that right? Every other month?
And that's not a holiday for anybody, right?
Well, hold on, let me pull it up.
I run into this with a couple of the other groups. I have one that meets Mondays and their meetings move constantly because of holiday conflicts.
It's Sukkot, but that should be not a holiday that anybody needs to miss time for.
Okay, cool.
First day of fall.
First day of fall. So that's the third Tuesday of September, right? That's what we're looking
Correct.
at. 21st.
Hey, real
Right.
quick, I just wanted to say thanks again for the help with the festival from the SSA. It was a huge help, especially with the rain. But like that money made it so we broke even. That was it. Otherwise, I was going to be in the hole for sure. I think to almost the penny, we broke even.
Nice.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Thanks again.
Great.
So it was very much appreciated.
That sucks that you weren't able to make money with that many people showing up. That's just so were you selling drinks and food and
Yeah, our
stuff?
food vendor blew us off like the night before, confirmed we were all ready to go, and then blew us off. We contacted 72 food trucks over the course of 3 months, couldn't get one to come out. Food is just a real challenge with us. That it's the only area of my life that I just don't have any personal contacts in. And so starting from fresh, it's just a disaster. But we, the Oasis had the beer tent. They did well. The vendors either broke even or made a couple of bucks. And yeah, we clicked in 1,100 people. We made the 10 o'clock news. DNA Info did a nice article on it beforehand, but it's suggested donations.
Yeah, no, it'll be a great event, and next year I'm sure it'll be even better. Hopefully it won't rain, because you did pretty well considering it was kind of raining for a large chunk of it. So,
Chris, do you know how well did asking for donations in advance of the festival do?
Excellent.
Like, did that work?
So I'll tell you what.
That's cool. That was
live
cool
stream. The live stream brought in $600.
Wow.
So right, so that was totally worth it, and that was the we got the live streaming down now. If anyone needs any advice on how to do that, we've got a great platform we use, and so live streaming throughout the day brought in an extra $600.
That's awesome.
Great to hear.
Yeah, and that was the Eventbrite with pre-sales as well. So I guess before the event, it was just a couple hundred, but then it was that same Eventbrite link with the QR code on the screen that people could just take a photo of and go right to the donation page. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right.
Anything else on the agenda? I don't have it.
That was the end of the agenda.
Can I just add, Jennifer, or Cindy is gonna need to get your signature.
Oh yeah, we need commissioner renewal paperwork from you still.
No, for the budget.
Oh, that too.
Okay.
But I think we are
and
still
I need
waiting
to.
on commissioner renewal paperwork as well.
I hate
You need
that.
to sign the budget form.
I just paid $1,500 for
What?
the filing the ethics form, because I filed it with the county. And so I thought I was done. And so I kept saying, like, I'm done. I did it. Why are they sending me these reminders? And then ultimately I got a letter that said, you did the county, you didn't do the city. And I got fined $1,500.
That is outrageous.
It happened to me once.
And then they give me like 7,000 pages worth of renewal paperwork. It's like, this is not,
No,
I don't understand why anybody would do this. Like, as a volunteer. Like,
and I had this conversation with a prospective commissioner for one of my other commissions yesterday. Like it's too much. Like for a volunteer position, the city does not make it easy for us to recruit commissioners. Like in fact, it's the opposite.
it is the opposite.
Frustration
It's very
continues.
obstructive.
I've had this conversation with Karen and Mark. We both have. It's
And then once I submit all the papers, they're going to want me to pay the damn parking tickets.
That
Of
too.
course they are.
Never.
Yeah.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I'm always fighting City Hall. Always.
Yeah.
Always. All right. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, we will. I don't think you actually need a vote on adjournment. But
No.
motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
All in favor?
Great.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See you in a couple months.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.